We have more for Your Ears Only. I'm David Alpern.
I'm Catherine Herzog with this news quote. The butcher continues killing, the observers continue observing, and the people continue with their revolution. That was a protest poster in the Damascus suburb of Arbin as a promised ceasefire continues to unravel. Now this.
Something in your eyes I see soon begins bewitching me. It's that old devil moon that you stole from the skies. It's that old devil moon in your eyes.
You may not know the name Burton Lane, but you probably know the songs he composed. Old Devil Moon and How Are Things in Glockamora from the Broadway musical and movie Finian's Rainbow. On a Clear Day You Can See Forever from the show and film of the same name. Too Late Now from the film Royal Wedding, perhaps most famous for Fred Astaire dancing on the walls and ceiling. And lesser-known classics like How About You from the film Babes on Broadway for Judy Garland and Mickey Rooney, with one of my favorite verses. Life can be a joy when a girl meets boy, but the note they end on will depend on little pleasures they do share, so let us compare. I like New York in June. How about you?
Lane, who died in 1997, would have turned 100 this year. And to celebrate his centennial, cabaret singer, pianist, and music historian Eric Comstock has been performing a special show of his songs this week on Tuesday at the Triad showroom on West 72nd Street in Manhattan. And with a stroll down that musical lane for Your Ears Only, we're pleased to have Eric on the line again now. Welcome back to our show.
Thank you, Catherine. Thank you, David. Musical Lane. Very good.
Like many of the songwriters of the early 20th century, Lane studied classical piano. Tell us a little more about his early years and how he got into show business.
He was amazingly precocious. I think he set a record that still stands. When he was 18, these were the days, of course, when people didn't write entire Broadway scores. They interpolated songs into reviews and things. So it wasn't an all Rodgers and Hammerstein score, because we're talking about the 1930s. But Burton Lane, at 18, had songs in 4 Broadway shows, and then he had his first song in a film at 20. So extremely precocious, and I think it was in Atlantic City. His mother took him to Atlantic City, and he met the Gershwin brothers, who were, of course, idols of his. So he set his eye on the star and got there very, very fast.
We mentioned Finian's Rainbow and On a Clear Day, but his other stage musicals didn't quite rise to that level, and much more of his work was for Hollywood. What were some of the other films and their associated songs?
Well, you mentioned Babes on Broadway, so he was, a contract player at MGM and wrote How About You for that. He worked at Paramount. He worked with Frank Lesser, and usually for, not very good, very under par movies, but always excellent songs, many of which made the hit parade. A couple that I'll be doing are Says My Heart, which is from a movie called Coconut Grove with Fred MacMurray. Barbara Fasano will be my very special guest. She'll be singing a beautiful song from College Humor with Bob Hope and Betty Grable and some other people, and that one is called Moments Like This, one of the sexiest songs maybe ever written.
It's a good thing she's also your wife.
I left that to you to say. I think of her as a great singer as well.
Lane is also credited with bringing the girl who would become Judy Garland to Hollywood's attention.
That's right. He actually played the audition of Frances Gumm at MGM, and we all know she grew up to be Tracy Bennett.
Can you describe the typical characteristics of a Burton Lane melody, or what it is about them that particularly appeals to you?
I think he did it all, and I really think it's criminal that he isn't more highly regarded outside the cognoscenti like you guys are, because he wrote extremely elegant melodies. He really wrote sinuous, beautiful, that are equally loved by song mavens and jazz musicians. And the goal of my show at the Triad Theater this Tuesday is that in addition to Barbara Fasano, I'll be working with my trio, and to show the jazz possibilities of these songs. They're so versatile. Certainly Old Devil Moon has taken its place in the jazz canon, and Too Late Now that you mentioned, which is on my most recent record called Bittersweet, is beloved of jazz musicians. The harmonies are so irresistible. They go to inevitable places, but not cliché places.
Lane's collaborator on Finian's, Yip Harburg, could go pretty heavy on the politics in his lyrics. Do we know much about Lane's politics?
Lane was not as outspoken as Yip Harburg and therefore did not wind up on the blacklist in the 1950s. But both Burton and his wife, Lynn, who will be with us on Tuesday at the Triad, Lynn and Burton were very involved in civic affairs here in New York and very of the left. But obviously, Burton, even if I'm not sure he had the temperament, even if he were a lyric writer, that he would have incorporated his views into the lyrics, as Yip Harburg so outspokenly did. I mean, when you think about it now, even now, Finian's Rainbow looks very risky. It was 1947. They had an integrated chorus, and it was a very leftist message and certainly addressed issues of race a long time ago, and with a hit anyway.
Given how long Lane lived into the late years of the last century, do we know what he made of the way popular music was changing? Some of the old masters like Irving Berlin were reportedly quite heartbroken.
Yes, I think the same would be true for Burton. Burton kept trying to get another hit, and I think Berlin had the best line about that when he said, I feel like I'm a merchant and I've got lots of good stuff on the shelves and nobody's coming in. And I think Burton Lane did feel that music was about giving beauty to the world, and, it's all a matter of taste, and obviously great songs are written in all eras, but it did discourage him that there was less demand for his material in the later years of his life.
Eric Comstock sings the songs of Burton Lane at 7 p.m. Tuesday, April 24th at the Triad showroom on West 72nd Street in New York, including this.
Of the morning breeze up there, the rattle of the milkman on the stair. Sure, that's music, mighty fine music. The singing of a sparrow in the sky, the perking of the coffee right nearby.
Quote from the news, my greatest asset in life was I never lost touch with hot dogs, hamburgers, going to the fair, and hanging out at the mall. That was music and broadcasting king Dick Clark, host of rock popularizing American Bandstand and numerous New Year's Rockin' Eve TV specials, dead last week at 82.
Next, celebrating 7 decades of singing. More music for your ears only.